Jason, I have a
All right.
question.
Yes.
Trades that you take, like why you didn't sell when they were already overbought? Why do you wait until they come down a little bit? Like why do you think it's early?
Because you'll never guess you'll never guess the very top, and you'll never guess the very bottom of a pair. You might get it once or twice, but what I like to do is I would like, my strategy now is a bit different. I enter in trades a lot earlier, and on that GBP AUD, I do enter them in earlier now because I've seen so much, the patterns kind of play out. And beforehand, it was more so entering in with the momentum. Because once that momentum is determined, it's pretty hard to have that change unless there's a news event that changes it. So once the bears really start to be there, the trend should continue to be bearish. So yeah.
When do you usually get into trades, like in early mornings, or what's like the best times that you see like really good like options to trade?
So with this strategy, it's based off of, you just want to be looking at the markets at the end of every trading day. So right around this time is the perfect time to look at the markets to determine, whether if you should be getting into a trade or not. If you are trying to scalp and you're trying to go for quicker trades, the New York session is going to be the best. Pacific time, I trade from 10 p.m. Pacific time all the way up until about 10 a.m. In the morning. So those are really the most profitable times to be trading. I'm noticing with the current situation of the economic status that as soon as the U.S. market opens up, that's the best time to trade. So about 4 o'clock in the morning to right around noon is when you could really capitalize on a lot of the moves that happen in the markets. But setting up the trades and looking at these longer swing trades that aren't, so needy and don't need a lot of, management. You could be looking at the markets, right between, 1 o'clock and now. You just have to, if you are entering in trades around this time, you just have to make sure you're looking at the spread because the spreads get pretty crazy when the markets close.
I have a question.
Yes.
Real quick. From the time that we had our one-on-one a few weeks ago, I think it was in December, or at the beginning of January, I don't remember. Have you made any changes to the algorithm?
The only changes, I haven't made any major changes. I've just added things. So the thing that I added was Forecast City. Forecast City sends out these signal alerts. And based off of those, I look at XK, and if XK is agreeing with his signals, so these are intraday trades. These are trades that pop up every single day. He posts 9 different trades on the same different 9 currency pairs every day. So these are supposed to be meant for, small wins, anywhere between 20 pips and 100 pips. And those are more so for the scalpers, people intraday trades in and out same day. So based off of those, which I'll go ahead and share my screen. So this is like a signal here. All right. So 1 hour. So he posted this up a while ago. He hasn't posted them up for this week. So this was last week's. So he gives me a breakdown of like, hey, this is the sell zone. This is where my take profits are. So if XK agrees with what he agrees with, then I'll be entering in the trade based off of that. That's really the only thing that I've added to XK since we've last talked, man. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Jesse, is there any way to install somehow a resistance and support just automatically, or do we have to set our own with trend lines?
I'm pretty sure you could find an indicator. I know that there's indicators out there. I personally, I was thinking like last week, I was like, man, I should probably get some other tools for you guys that'd be beneficial. I know that there's ones out there, but I personally just don't use them. Normally what I end up doing is going to Forecast City. I don't really use the TradingView support and resistance just because I think that's what the masses probably would do. And if a lot of people are losing, it's probably based off of maybe that stuff. So I just go off of Forecast City, support and resistance, and then I just plot it all on TradingView. So it's
Okay.
it takes me 10-15 minutes to plot all of the trades, the support and resistance. And once you start to build up, on TradingView, and if you pay for the subscription, your support and resistance should automatically stay. So once you do it on one pair, and you go back to trade that pair again, you should still have your support and resistance from that last trade.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I got to handle some things, but I'll definitely review everything tonight and rewatch the recording if it's sent out, and then come at you with some questions then.
Awesome, Adrian. You take care.
Yeah, man. Awesome presentation, though. Really appreciate
Thank you.
it. Yep. Take care.
All right. Any other questions before we kind of dive into what pairs we should be actually entering in and stuff?
Yeah, Jesse, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I was looking at your SSL channel chart
Yeah.
and then kind of bouncing it off of your absolute strength histogram.
Yeah.
Right now I'm looking at the Euro USD and it crossed, what was that? Yesterday. So you got red on the bottom and blue on the top for your SSL channel. But for your absolute strength, you got blue on the top and then red on the bottom. Is there a way that the colors can correlate?
The colors are coordinated.
So
That's how we set it up.
okay,
They should coordinate. If they're not, then either the PowerPoint was stated wrong or you put the wrong colors in the wrong areas.
no, I see that now. So when it crosses, it switches so that
Yeah, like right here, I have looking at Euro JPY in the 1 hour time frame.
okay.
I have a red line on top of the SSL.
Yeah.
Red lines on top of the absolute strength histogram. They both cross to the downside, signaling a bearish trend.
Okay, these are crossing at different time frames. So then when you got the red on the top, you're taking on the buy, and then when it crosses, you want the sell.
You're only entering it in when it crosses. That's really what you're looking for. You're not solely entering in trades off of the SSL channel. The SSL channel chart is just to indicate what the current trend is. So right now it's signaling that the trend is going to be bearish because the red line crossed over to the downside.
Okay. Okay, so that's part of the.
So on the 1 hour time frame, this is indicating that for the next maybe 1 or 2 hours, potentially longer, that this trend is going to continue to be bearish. Now I can go to the 4 hour time frame and see what the 4 hour. 4 hours not telling me anything, right? 4 hours tell me that this thing is actually still going to be bullish because we don't have anything telling me, these lines aren't crossed.
Right.
SSL channel chart's not crossed yet. But if you could enter in, off the 1 hour, and that could lead to a 4 hour confirmation, which could lead to a daily confirmation, so on and so forth.
Okay. So you're wanting red on the bottom for a sell, blue on the top for a buy. Right? No, never mind. I'm screwing myself up now. I'm overthinking this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot easier to see on the higher time frames.
Right. I'm looking at a
and
date.
Certain currency pairs aren't the best for this, and you'll start to realize, like, if a currency pair has been trending sideways for, like, Euro JPY, you can look at Euro JPY. Look at how sideways this has been. I mean, this is a monthly time frame. XK is not going to excel on these type of currency pairs. I like to trade the GBPs really with this strategy, because they actually, if I pull it out on a monthly time frame, we actually see ups and downs. And this has been quite sideways, but the sideways on the monthly is like a couple hundred pips. for example, yeah. So you'll get it as time goes on, and you start placing trades. It's going to be a big trial and error for a lot of you, determining, hey, is this the right time to enter? Is this the right? And I want to tell you all, enter. If you think you should enter, it's a demo. If you lose a trade, who gives a shit, right? So if you guys even think like, hey, my gut is telling me I should enter in this trade, do it. What do you got to lose? And finding out, what if you start losing trades, all you're doing is you're finding out what not to do. It's kind of like, inventing the light bulb. Yeah, you tried 10,000 times or whatever, you found out 10,000 ways not to do it. So I highly encourage you. I've taught 100 different people on this, and 99% of people, they'll only enter in trades when they're getting these confirmations. Don't wait for all the confirmations. Enter in early, see what happens, kind of play with it, experiment a little bit, and use these rules as kind of a guideline. And you can kind of marinate what to make this strategy fit your personality and your trading style. Because, the way I'm going to be trading is not going to be the way that, you guys are going to be trading. It's not going to be exact, right? You'll have the same template and stuff, but you'll modify it and make certain tweaks to make it your own.
Yeah. All right. I'll just have to look at it a bit more and spend some time with it.
Definitely. Any other questions before we move on?
Hey, Jesse, what do you do to track your trades? Like, what kind of information do you track?
So I generally get a lot of my information from Training with Andrew and Gregory, based off of what they're kind of telling me. Normally they keep you pretty up to date on everything that you should know. What do I track for the trades? If I'm getting into a certain trade, I'm always watching all of the high impacting news events that come out. So if I'm in, a GBP USD trade, I want to make sure I'm staying up to date and actually watching the charts every time there's a 3-bull event. So say GBP USD, I'm in a sell. There's a 3-bull event on GBP coming up in 2 hours. I want to, more than likely, I like to make sure I'm on the computer watching that news event play out, because if the news event comes out and is against me and I know that right away, I could be exiting on my trade with potentially more profit than if I were just to wait that out. Fundamentals are very unreliable, I say right now, and I tread lightly on that because, for instance, interest rates were just lowered on, USD, and what I'm noticing is there's manipulation being done on a mass scale, and the numbers that we're reading are not real. The price of spot metal right now, there's nowhere that's not near the actual value of it. And big banks and the however you want to call them, the elite are really determining. The banks are determining what price these are at based off of what they want to do. So when I look at fundamentals and I see a news event come out and I read online that, hey, if this news event came out worse than expected, this is going to send this currency pair up, and then I see the vice versa happen, it's just like, you got to take it with a grain of salt. What I do want to say though is using XK, and when you get into these bigger swings, the news events almost always play in our favor, because everyone else is trading on a smaller time frame and they're not seeing the bigger picture. And these news events normally go into our favor. And that's just kind of what I've noticed over the course of time of using it, is we see these impulsive moves that actually happen for our favor, because people aren't just seeing, the bigger picture on the higher time frames. You're welcome. All right, guys, I'm going to go into the little final stage here. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to pull up. I'm going to go through some of these kind of fast. Let me go hide all. And then what I want to do is go to symbols, and I am just going to go ahead and we actually want the pro pairs for KOT4X. So these are all the pairs I'm going to look through. I'm going to look through a bunch of pairs with you guys, pairs that I probably haven't even looked at in a long time. I think it's kind of actually needed to be done right now. So some of these pairs I'm going to look at for like 1 second, and I'm just going to pass by. I'll tell you guys why. But once you start to use this a lot more, you'll be able to identify if the pair is, you know, something to watch, or if it's not even worth it, your time. And then let's do some exotics, Forex exotics.
The peso.
Yeah, we'll see how these are performing. It's quite, there's a little more than I thought there was. All right. So what are we looking for? We are looking for confirmations 1 and 2, if not potentially even more. I pull out this time frame, right? It's let me make sure I'm pretty sure that's a make sure I put on my right template. I'm going to be looking at the daily time frame right off the bat. And as you can see here on the daily time frame, something I want you guys all to note is something that I'm noticing is, let me point this out right now. Let me go to TradingView. Is we're in a time where the markets are behaving just like they did in 2008.
You're not screen sharing right now.
I'm not?
No, we're looking at your face.
Share screen. How about
There
now?
we go. Yep.
All right, so you can see TradingView?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So with the current economic situation, what I've been doing is going out to the monthly time frame, going back to 2008. September of 08 is when it was officially announced that, you know, we had we're entering in the depression or recession, whatever you want to call it. You can see here, look at this monster of a move that happened on GBP USD. Right? This is very uncharacteristic of any other time that's been moving, right? So this is, you know, 2017, 2016, it's just been kind of up, down, up, down, up, down. If we are truly, which I believe we are in officially in a bearish market, we are going to be going lower and lower. We're going to see the US dollar just gain an immense amount of strength. We should see a move similar to this. So then I can go on TradingView. I can kind of measure this out, you know, price range. You know, we're talking about a 5,000 pip move that happened. And obviously this is a monthly time frame. So in between there could have been small retracements, but I'm telling you right now, this is like a straight shot down. So what I've been doing is breaking down every pair, and I could take this move, match it up to where we're currently at now, and we could potentially be going, you know, down way lower. See? So this is, you know, GBP USD, and we could be going down like all the way down here. So I think trends are starting to play out a lot more on these currency pairs. So before you guys are entering in trades, try to trade with whatever happened in 2008. And when we're looking at the currency pairs actually here with XK, let me make this smaller. We don't need that big. Don't need this that big. When we're actually looking at this, right, we can see here that, yeah, it's way outside the B-band zone. But if I come to the monthly time frame, and I look back at 08, look at what happened. We had a monster of a slide happen. So even though XK is saying that this thing is very oversold, with the current market conditions, I am not wanting to buy this based off of what happened in 08. So what I would be looking forward is for this thing to retrace back up and then potentially get in a sell. All right. Even though that this thing is very, very oversold. according to XK. We still don't have any confirmation though, right? You know, we're still early. We have at confirmation 1 outside the B-band zone. You know, we are in that oversold area. Maybe these lines are going to kind of come back together and we'll see those cross. But as of right now, you know, this is something that you could potentially just put on a watch list because we just don't have any other additional confirmations. But like I said, I'm trading with all of the 2008 trends. So I'm always going back to like what the monthly time frame's telling me. And I'll be going to be looking to probably sell AUD USD if that opportunity were to come up. You know, on the monthly time frame, look at what it's telling us. You know, we had a little psych up, coming up, nope, coming right back down. I think actually AUD is going to be dropping down to probably about 50 cents. Trading with Angie was talking about that today. So I'm just going to go through these, kind of look, you know, on the daily. All right, daily, you know, said that this was, you know, just going to be ending. We're in the middle of the B-band zone here. You know, nothing really to look for because we're not outside the B-bands. So I just move on to the next pair. GBP USD. We had this monster of a slide. We are in that, you know, oversold area. Maybe this is potentially going up. What I would be looking for again is if I come out to the monthly time frame, we saw this monster of the move down. If I'm looking at XK on the monthly time frame, right, we have 14 days left. So this cross is not valid until this time frame closes, right? This red line's on top, crossing over the downside. This would indicate a bearish trend on a monthly time frame. If in 14 days these lines still cross, that means GBP USD for the next 2 to 3 months is going to be bearish. You know, we come to the weekly time frame, right? Weekly time frame is indicating that this is also bearish. Come to the daily time frame, it's also indicating that this is bearish. Come to the 4-hour time frame, right? On the 4-hour time frame, this might, you know, I'm not looking to buy it because I'm, like, again, trading with the 2008 trend, but I would look to see if these lines cross on the 4-hour. Maybe this could come back up to a recent level of support. Maybe, you know, I'll be looking to grab it. You know, maybe if it comes back to this area and retest this zone, I could sell it there and then short it again. So we're going to be going through these, and I bet you we're not going to see any real great trades just due to the market conditions. But I'm just going to kind of go through these. Daily time frame, right? We're outside the B bands. I'm just going to be looking for one that we could really potentially be entering in. USD CAD is looking pretty good. We're outside that B band zone. We have the red arrow present. What we're waiting for is confirmation 4, confirmation 5. Still waiting on that. So, you know, this could be a potential trade we could put on the watch list. Just kind of going through here. Now, USD Swiss, we actually just had a cross not long ago on the daily time frame. Right, we were outside the B band zone, and we did in fact push up. But what I'm noticing as of right now is this is a level. I bet you this is a level of, this was a level of support, now acting as a level of resistance. I kind of pull this out. Yep, this was a level of support, 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 acted as a level of support, and we broke through that. So in my opinion, this pair is actually about to break to the downside again. But we don't have any confirmation. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, you know, we'd almost have those lines crossed. So I'd be potentially looking to short this. Let's see here. Let's see what the weekly's telling me. The weekly's telling me that the trend is still bearish, right? We're outside that B-band zone, but there's no line cross on that absolute strength histogram that's saying that this thing's going to head back up. Let's go to the monthly. Monthly, same thing, telling us that this is going to continue to the downside. Now, Swiss franc is something that I really don't like trading. So I'm not going to trade the Swiss franc, but this could be a potential short because it's retesting that line of support right here. And it obviously rejected off of that pretty heavy. We'll get a trade here. We'll get a trade. USD JPY, kind of seeing the same thing. We saw that break of a major level here, and we could potentially be going lower. So what I'm going to wait for really for these two trades is I would love to see a 4-hour confirmation. If I get a 4-hour confirmation that this is indeed going lower, I could potentially be entering in on that those pairs there. AUD CAD, you know, still it's going to be the same story for a lot of these pairs. We had really impulsive moves happen. Something I want to note, you guys notice about this pair is look at how it held at this 200-day EMA. Went up to the 200 EMA, rejection, went back up to this 200 EMA, and rejected. So we should be trading below this 200 EMA for quite some time. See what we're saying? Yeah, on the monthly time frame, this is AUD CAD monthly time frame. We had rates right here. We had that divergence happen. What did I say when there was a divergence? Does anyone remember? The lines got close, and then they split apart. What would happen?
Impulsive move.
Yep, impulsive move. This is a monthly time frame. Look at how of an impulsive move we had there. Pretty aggressive. I know all the AUD pairs are going to be kind of trash. Swiss franc, again, I don't want to be trading the Swiss franc. For you that don't know, the Euro Swissy, it's probably like the most famous story of a crash. Swiss franc just absolutely took a crap, and look up the Swiss franc crash, or no, Euro Swiss, no Swiss, Euro Swissy, Euro Swiss crash. You can do a quick search on that, and for that reason, I don't be trading the Swiss franc. Man, all these pairs are very oversold. But when we look at like CAD JPY again, I'm coming back to the monthly time frame. Look at this big impulsive move. What do we know that's going on in China right now? A complete shutdown. They're not producing anything. So the Japanese yen should be technically, I think, weakening, but you know, maybe the CAD is actually weakening too much against it. But if we're looking at a monthly time frame, this just happened last month. We had a monthly cross right here last month that this was going to be a bearish trend, and we did see that actually happen. So I think a lot of these pairs are kind of risky to get in with full weight at this point in time. But I do believe if you're trading, you know, a smaller lot size, you'll be able to withstand some of this the drawdown that may occur on some of these pairs, because I do believe all of these pairs are going to play out just like they did in 08. Euro AUD. Again, you know, we're way outside the B bands. Again, most people will be looking to sell this. I understand XK is telling us, hey, we this thing is so far out there. It's crazy. We could potentially selling it, but I'm looking at, you know, back here, 2008, we saw this thing rapidly go to the upside. So I think that's exactly where we're going. And we're looking at the monthly time frame. We had another cross, right? So these monthly time frames right now, I would be paying attention definitely to the daily, weekly, and monthlies to really indicate. But I would be looking for pullback and then buying this. I'm hoping that we can get a pair that isn't already really overextended too much. Let me see, go through these real quick and see if we can actually find one. You know, okay, so Euro JPY. This is kind of a pretty good example here. We have the absolute strength histogram. This is a daily time frame. Absolute strength histogram is just crossed for a bullish trend, right, on this candle here. What we can see on this though is, you know, SSL channel is also telling us it's bullish, but we have 21 hours until this candlestick ends. So I'll be waiting 21 hours for this. This could be definitely a potential trade we're getting in. I would like it to be outside the B band zone when we entered it. Right now we're in the middle of the B band zone, which is kind of a danger zone. This could go either way. This could, you know, go to the upside or a downside. So what I want to do is I always want to be trading with the main trend. What is the main trend? How do you declare that? You go to the higher time frames, because the higher time frames always overrule. So the weekly time frame is telling me right back here, it told me that this trend is going to be bearish, and it's being continued to be bearish. So right now on the weekly time frame, trend's still bearish. What's the monthly telling us? Well, we got 14 days left of the month, but I can tell you right now, this is the impulsive move to the downside. We had the small retracement. That's probably a retest of a major level of support. I go ahead and put a line right there, and we kind of zoom this out. It did act as act a little bit here, kind of like blew through it each time. A little bit of resistance here. So maybe it retested that level, and we could see this potentially going further to the downside. But again, the monthly time frame, if this ends 14 days and these lines stay crossed, this thing is going to head to be bearish more and more, and we'll go lower. But this is a potential trade that we could enter in for a buy. So what did I say before? If we think it's going to be something, why don't we just enter it? I almost guarantee you this is going to be a loss. I almost guarantee this is going to go down, but let's just see how XK plays this out with a daily cross here. So I am going to go ahead, go in, and this is a $10,000 account. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to just do flat one lot trades. So I'm going to go ahead and type in one lot, and then I'm going to go ahead and buy this. So then I go ahead and hit my buy. Now I am going to kind of a zoom out here, look and see where we have major levels of support. I'm going to go to a simpler version of XK, so things are a little cleaned up for me so I can see a little bit better. And then I'm going to identify, major levels of support and resistance. I know if we break this low down here, that we're definitely going lower. So I'll set my stop loss down there. And then I can just pull my take profit. I set my take profit maybe 1 there. Take profit 2 would be at the top here of this resistance. Let's actually move this down a little bit, because we have support here, right? Support, it's been acting as level support. This line's active support back here. So what I'm going to want to do then is go ahead. I already set my stop loss. I'm just doing one trade for now, just due to the fact that I do believe this will be a loss. So I'm just doing one portion of my trade. And then I'm just going to set this take profit to take profit 2. So 120.62. And then another thing I can do on this trade is set a trailing stop loss. So I can pull out my crosshair, measure up to take profit 1. Take profit 1 is 50 pips. So that first number is the amount of candlesticks. That second number in there, I know it's probably hard to see, is the amount of pips. You have to move over the decimal place to the left one to get the amount of pips. So it says 536. That's just 53 pips. So what I could do is I could set trailing stop. So when it hits take profit 1, my stop loss is going to move to be in profit. So once it's up 50 pips, which is 500 points, it'll automatically adjust my stop loss to be in profit. And if this trade were to reverse on me, it'll close it out. Now there's a bunch more steps normally I do with a trade before I'm entering it in. I want to wait to walk you guys through all those steps when I actually have a really valid trade to be entering in. But this is kind of like my Euro JPY, what I have set up. This was a buy zone that I had set up, so I do think this is going up. I could go ahead and check forecast city. We'll go ahead weekly forecast. Weekly forecast. Let's see what he's saying. Euro JPY, he's saying up this week. He's thinking it's going to be bullish. Look at that. So he has this trend line, put in place here. He thinks it may bounce off that and then head back to this low, or we'll break that trend line and we're going to go higher. So I could, easily grab my support and resistance off here. All right, let's just do it. Let's just go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do this trade. Let me go ahead and clear this. Remove drawings. All right, so this is a daily time frame. What I'm going to do is grab his support and resistance, and I'm just going to plot all of those. So we'll go down. Grab the line here, go to the horizontal line. You can even do this on your VPS or your MT4 platform. I'm going to make these, let's go purple. And just go ahead and type these in here. So 133.1. $129.1. $126.65. $125.1. $123.7. $120.8. 120 flat, good psychological level. At 119.25. $111.25. All right, now that I got those all plotted, go ahead and look at this. So those are all the supports or resistance. He thinks this is actually going up. If I go back to this, he'll actually state if it breaks a level. So this is a double bottom here. He's saying, when the resistance, if support at 15.85 is broken, the short-term forecast beginning of an uptrend will be invalid. So that's where I'm going to want to set my stop loss, is right at this 115.85, a little bit below this. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy that. We'll go to another line here. We'll make this one red for stop loss. That would be our stop loss, right below that. On our MT4, I'll set it right below that. And then we would use these two as our take profits. So I'll set these to green. All right, green. Go to like a smaller time frame here, and we might see this actually push up. So what I'm going to do is we actually entered in long position. I think we entered in like right around there. This would be my take profit. This is my stop loss all the way down here. Obviously, this is a horrible risk to reward ratio, but this is meant for like the swings. This could potentially even go higher, but with that daily time frame, I'm more than likely this probably is going to be a winner actually. So we got 119.25 for our first take profit, 120 for our second take profit. I'm going to go ahead back to here, and I'm going to enter in another position, seeing as I have 2 take profits. And then I can just modify these lines here, horizontal line. 120. The first take profit, he's actually saying way below this, all right? So he's saying that one there. Other one was 119.25, 1.25, which is right at my entry. Is that right? Yeah, it is. Let's do this. Let's go. I'm gonna raise. Let's use this other take profit. Seeing as we're already at that take profit, let's use this one as our second take profit. So we'll use 120 as take profit 1, 120.8 as take profit 2. Want this line. That take profit there. This is going to be 120.8. So then what I want to do next is get my stop loss, which I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's right there, right below that. Perfect. My furthest take profit, my furthest trade, so I already entered in this trade, would be going to my furthest take profit. And this trade that's closest to take profit 1, I set that take profit to take profit 1 because this trade is more likely to enter in drawdown than this one because it's closer to the take profit 1. So we'll see how this trade kind of plays out over the course of this week. Maybe we'll hit our loss, maybe we won't. Let me drag. I think this is a stop loss. I get this stop loss in. And then we wait it out. So that is the first trade, Euro JPY. You guys have any questions on this?
I do. So did you open 3 different execution? So
I
you
have 2 take profits, so I opened up 2 different positions.
Okay, so you have 2 different positions.
Yes. So a general rule about this is normally I don't. The only reason why I'm entering in 2 positions right away is because you guys are all on the call. Normally what I do is I enter in 1/3 of my position and then I wait, depending on the time frame that I'm trading on. If I'm trading on a daily time frame, which we are right now, I'm going to wait 20 hours. And if in 20 hours, I hit my take profits, awesome. But if my current trade is in drawdown, what I could do is enter in another buy. And then that way I have a better entry point if this thing were to swing, back in my favor. So generally speaking, if I'm entering in a trade, I enter in 1/3 of my position right away. I wait, anywhere between 4 and 16 hours normally before I'm entering in any more positions, because more than likely your first entry is not going to be good.
And if it go more drawdown, then you will be more loss, right?
If you go into drawdown, you'll have a better entry if XK is signaling that the trend is still going to continue in your favor. If XK, if we see these lines uncross and XK is telling me that this thing is going to be bearish, then I would want to be exiting out. But if XK is still signaling that this thing is going to be bullish, then I will want to place another position.
Yeah, for the risk ratio, we are not thinking about the risk ratio for this trade, right?
No.
Yeah.
I personally have a very high tolerance for the risk. If you want a 1-to-1 ratio, you can use a 1-to-1 ratio. By all means, I would just make sure that your entries are better than what we're currently doing. This is it's not supposed to be like, I get nitpicky and stuff, but for the fact of us just beginning to learn in the call, I have to do certain things a certain way.
All right.
Any other questions?
This has been just fantastic, Jesse. It's Tracy. I gotta step off the call now, but thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to tomorrow.
You're very welcome. You take care, Tracy.
Take care.
All right, we're just going to run through all of these other pairs real quick, you guys. Euro NZD. You know, we're looking very, very overbought monthly time frame. Like again, what I'm going to be waiting for is, you know, probably like a 4-hour confirmation of this thing actually heading the other way. Right now, there's not going to be a whole lot. GBP AUD, yeah, nothing on the daily. GBP CAD, you know, is way down there. GBP Swiss franc, way down below. We're actually at a pretty key level of support. This could potentially be going up. I will enter this into my watch list. So I'm just going to leave that currency pair open. Go to GBP JPY. You know, if Euro JPY is going up and we do actually get that, maybe we're going to see a slight reversal here. Yeah, I have the 4-hour time frame telling me that this thing's going to be bearish. Daily, you know, still no real confirmation here. GBP NZD, again, this was one that I do want to plot out. And we'll make this kind of like the last trade here. Let me just go through all these other ones. We'll come back and we'll do GBP NZD for the last, because I know that that's an actual trade that I'm in currently, and I think will play out in our favor. All right, CAD versus Singapore dollar. We have these lines just about to cross. So this is going to be put on my watch list because we're waiting 20 hours, right? We want to wait until this candlestick closes. If these lines stay crossed in the next 20 hours, then we should see this continue to push to the upside. So I'll add that to the watch list. By doing that, all I'm just going to do is just keep that chart open. Nothing here, right? I think my VPS froze on me. All right, well, let's set up this trade on GBP NZD. Go out to the daily time frame. And normally when I'm breaking down a pair, I already have those support and resistance. I don't want to get this call too much. We're gonna plot this thing out, and then I'm gonna wrap it up here. I will go over TradingView more in depth, how I'm actually using TradingView later on this week. We've been on this call for, gosh, 3 hours. So I appreciate you guys all taking your time to hop on this. I will plot out this one last trade here, and then we'll enter it in on the demo account, and then I'll open up to any final questions, and then we'll go from there. So we're gonna go to here, go to Forecast City. I know that he's got GBP NZD. He's saying sell on Monday. We're gonna be entering in a little bit early. All right, so these are all his take profits. I'm just gonna go ahead and we'll remove all the drawings. We'll start off fresh. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and enter in all these take profits. So 2.012. Two flat. 1.9690. 9435. 9030. 18705. And lastly, we have 1.8120. So this is supposed to be a long-term swing trade. So we're going to go back out to the daily. These are going to be all our take profits. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 6. We have 6 positions, so we would want to enter in 6 trades. What I'm more than likely going to do is we're going to enter in 3 right off the bat, and then tomorrow we'll relook at this and see where it's at, and we may enter in more, or we'll leave it as that. So we go ahead and put in a short position here. That would be our entry, our take profits, right? And then my stop loss is probably right around there. Let's see what he placed. 2.145. 2.145. So he's saying if it breaks this level, the bearish trend will be invalid. I agree. So that would be our stop loss. Just drag this out a little wider. Now that's kind of how I plot out the trade on TradingView, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing onto the MT4 platform. Go to GBP NZD. Now let's do. I'll do a little bit of a breakdown of XK on this. So what am I really seeing when I look at XK? I like to look at the monthly time frame first to determine what the main trend is. Now this is a simplified version of XK. I will go back to what you guys have on your chart. So what am I noticing here? Well, I'm noticing that it did on the monthly hit this 200 EMA, and we had a rejection, right? This big red candlestick here, or wick. Monthly time frame is still signaling that this thing could potentially be bullish, because right back here we have on the absolute strength histogram, blue line was on top, cross to the downside. That's going to indicate a bullish trend. Again, here, SSL channel chart is also indicating bullish. So on the monthly time frame, we're still saying that this thing's bullish. Doesn't mean that you know, this isn't time for it to kind of switch roles. On the weekly time frame, we start seeing those lines on the absolute strength histogram coming together. You know, the weekly time frame obviously doesn't end for 5 days. So in 5 days, at the end of this week, if this absolute strength histogram is crossed, we do know that for the next, you know, 1 or 2 weeks, this could be bearish, which would line up exactly with our trade. And this could be a monster of a win for us. We are, you know, a bit above that 200-day moving average. So looking at the weekly time frame, it's still saying it's bullish. To be honest, I mean, we don't have any indications that this thing is being bearish. But what I'm looking at is on the daily time frame, we do have that line cross. We do have the SSL channel chart telling us that, you know, it is going to be bearish. And the chart is all squinched up because this giant 1200 pip wick. So it's kind of hard to visualize what's really going on here. That's why I like to look at TradingView a lot, because once you start to add these indicators onto your MT4 platform, the candle starts to get sticks, start to get you know, squished. They don't really represent what they really should. So looking at TradingView is always great. Looking at a naked chart, really determining what these candlesticks are saying to us. And there's a trading candlestick Bible that I sent you guys. It's a book that you can read up on, and each one of these candlesticks represents something totally different. 4-hour time frame, right? Look back here. It actually was indicating that this thing is going to be bearish. See what the 1 hour time frame. It went to the top of the B bands, rejected off of this level, and I think now we're going to start heading to the lower. So, like I said, I'm going to be entering in 3 positions right now. So my max that I want to do, I'm just going to do 0.55 for my positions. I'm going to enter in 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll do this off, off the video. I'm just going to use those same take profits and everything that I just grabbed off of, the trading view. I will send an image of this to the Telegram chat right now. I think this is the trade that we'll be tracking for this week. And XK is not something that you guys don't think that you're going to be getting 20 trades a week. I mean, 1 trade a week, maybe 1 trade every couple weeks is plenty. So copy this. And I will go ahead and send this in the Telegram. You guys know the stop losses. This is our entry. The green lines are take profits.
So you're wanting us to follow along, right? We're doing all this as well?
That is going to be totally up to you. I would suggest that, yes, you would follow along. So that is pretty much the gist of it. Like I said, we're going to be going more in depth. This call has been going on for far too long, so I don't want to take up a lot more of you guys' time. I do want to answer any additional questions that you guys may have.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
About the lot sizes. So for $10,000, we open with 1.0 and it's not using proper risk management. It would take me an extra 10, 15 minutes to figure out the proper risk. So I just did the math in my head. Good question though. Very good question. So if you have $1,000 account with your strategy, what lot size should we use?
That's going to be up to your personal risk tolerance.
What will you do if you have 1,000?
I'm not going to tell you. It's going to be up to your personal risk tolerance. You got to figure that out on your own. So when you go, and I'll share my screen again, on this GBP NZD trade, right? Our stop loss is like way up here-ish, so I can look at this and I can see, hey, if I lose this trade, I'm going to lose $3,700 on this one trade, right? So you can, before I get into a trade on my live account, I always place these on a demo, right? Place them on a demo, and then I can highlight this over and I can see how much money I would actually be willing to lose. So that's something you're going to have to kind of work on yourself, is how much are you willing to risk per trade? And depending on your account size and how much you're willing to risk is going to be up to you. For me, it's all based on, my confidence level of the trade. If I'm very confident in the trade, I put more weight down. If I'm less confident in the trade, I put less weight down, and we go from there. Yeah. Does that kind of clarify that?
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Any other questions?
For the Forecast City, I do want to just chime in. You can buy a year subscription for
for a discount.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that'd be your better option if you plan on doing this long term.
Definitely buying the higher package would be better.
Yeah.
You get more with it. Yeah. Nothing else, guys? All right. Well, from here on out, continue to kind of maybe break this down. And I highly encourage all of you to look at some of these major currency pairs with the indicators and go back test it. What do I mean by that? Go look at the markets years ago, pick a random time on a random currency pair, and then you can just line everything up. Be like, okay, this is outside the B bands. This makes this confirmation. You can pull out, your crosshair. Let me share my screen one last time. You can pull out your, on the daily time frame on GBP NZD. You can go all the way back. Let me go back. Come on. I think my VPS froze. Oh, there it is. So you can go back and you can just see if this were to work, right? So I pull out my crosshair. Look, right, I'm outside the B-band zone here, right? My blue arrow is present. What happens? Okay, I would have entered in my trade right here because I had those lines crossing up the string histogram. We had our 4 confirmations. Guess what? I would have went to the top of the V-band zone. That would have been a 290 pip win. So you guys can go back on all different types of currency pairs and kind of test this out to see, you know, where you would potentially be entering in and how these lines actually line up. I think that's going to be the best for you to identify, you know, what trades you're going to be getting in. I'll see on the next call. We'll walk through. I have a ton. I have like hundreds of trades that I've taken, and I've taken screenshots of befores and afters and durings. Like, I'll walk you guys through a bunch more examples. I have a ton of examples of trades that I've actually taken, and we'll dive into that on the next call. So do your due diligence, do your homework, you guys. Of course, if you have any other questions or anything like that, shoot me a message. And as always, may the trades be with you all.
That was
Thank you,
amazing.
Jesse.